So last time we were studying this topic, developing the project network, and then we saw that how we can perform the network calculations by the forward pass and the backward pass. So this network calculation can also be represented by the bar chart format. So it is also called as the Gantt chart after the name of its first inventor, Henry Gantt. So it is a Gantt chart. It is also called Gantt chart. It is a tool for planning and scheduling. Uh, in this format, the activities are represented on side, and the time scale is represented on the top. Okay, and estimated duration is represented by the length of the bar, or from where the bar is starting. That is the starting time of the activity. And in the software system, this type of bar chart is automatically created. Okay, so it can show the relationships between the activities as well. So if we go to the software for example, uh, Microsoft project, and want to make a bar chart, so then we can enter the information of the activities. So for example, this is the bar chart which was last time created, okay, in the Microsoft Excel, and then the information of the activities was added, the task name, duration, and predecessor, and the research and the resource names. So if you see from here, uh, we entered the information about the task names and how they can be arranged in their work breakdown structure. And we also entered the predecessor information. Okay. So which activity has the immediately uh, predecessor activity, and which are the resources. We now we can add the number of days each activity will take. So for example, identify target customers, identify target consumers will take, say, 3 days. And then the next activity will take 10 days. And then the next activity will take 20 days. So 3, 10, and 20 we can add into this here. So we will enter 3 and then hit enter. So the days, that is the units, will be the default in this program. So it is number of days is the default unit of the program. Okay, and therefore we don't need to write days specifically. If, for example, the unit is, say, in some other like weeks, so we can just enter W instead of week, or for hours you can just enter H instead of hours, etc. But the default unit is number of days. Okay, so enter the duration for the developed draft questionnaire. So we will enter 10. Pilot test questionnaire, we will enter 20. So let's see these activities again. Pilot test questionnaire is 20. Finalized questionnaire, 5 days. Print questionnaire, 10 days. So review comments and finalized questionnaire, 5 days. And 10 and 2, 12 2. Okay, so 10 to 12 2. Okay. Develop software test data. Okay, develop software test data. Maybe I can put these side by side and then I can enter it so that I don't have to. Okay, so for example, I have. Okay, so identified target consumers, 3 days, develop draft questionnaire, 10 days, and pilot test questionnaires, 20 days, finalize questionnaire, 5 days, uh, print questionnaires, 10 days. Then I have prepare mailing labels, 2 days, mail questionnaire and get responses, 12 days, develop data analysis software. Um, 2 days, uh, test software, 5 days, and then uh, develop software test data, develop software test data, 65 days. Okay, 65 days. Test software, 5 days, right? And then input resource response data. Input response data is 7 days. And then analyze results, 8 days. And then prepare report, 10 days. So I have entered the duration for each of these activities. Okay. So now let me expand it and then I can see what happens. So here I can see that when I have expanded it, the total duration which has taken for this project is 69 days, okay, based on this data. So in this case, we can see that it is taking 69 days. Okay, so which seems to be little bit different. Okay, so for this seems to be a little bit different than what I was expecting. Okay, so the project starts from 1st of March and then finishes on 3rd of June. So from 1st of March until 3rd of June, there are 3 months, and within these 3 months, the working days are like 69 days, 5 days a week. So that from that point of view, that seems to be correct. Okay, but if for example the data may be different, then it can be same like the one we have for our example calculations. In the example calculations, we calculated the duration was 138 days. So let's use the same data. So for this, maybe we can look at the original data. The original data for the project was, let's see, in this book chapter. Here. I think it was given on activity durations. The data was given somewhere here. Yes, so here. Yeah, maybe I should use this data, okay, over here. So for example, here it was said that uh, identify target consumers was 3 days. A developed draft questionnaire was 10 days. Pilot test questionnaire was 20 days. And review comments and finalize questionnaire was 5 days. Prepare mailing labels. Prepare mailing label was 2 days. Print questionnaire was 10 days. Develop data analysis software. Develop data analysis software. Where was this? 2 days, yes. Develop software test data, 2 days. Develop a software test data was 2 days, yeah. It was 2 days. It was 2 days. And then mail questionnaire again and get response. It was 65 days. Yes. And test software was 5 days. Input response data, 7 days. Analyze results, 8 days. And prepare report, 10 days. Yeah, I think now the data is same as we have used before. And in this case, now the consumer market study report says that it takes 70 days. However, it should take 180 days. So, but in this case, why it is taking 70 days? Because here you can see that for some of these cases, we have not selected the automatic scheduling. So here you can see that there are two types of icons. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Here,
we can.
under the task mode, there are two types of items. So there, you can see that this is the pinned item over here. This pinned item over here is showing us that it is showing a manually scheduled task. If we select all tasks like this, and then we click the auto schedule, so then it will be calculate the durations, because right now it is only we have only entered the task there and the durations, but it has not automatically calculated it. So we have to schedule it automatically. So there are various ways we can do that. So we can click the auto schedule over here, or we can just say from here project, and then we can even select the schedule as well for F7. But for the in the task over here, if we select over here, and then from here, if we can change it to auto schedule, okay, so then it will change to auto schedule, okay. then it will change to auto schedule. And then if, for example, over here, and then I will drag it down, so everything will be auto scheduled. Okay, and now since everything has been auto scheduled over here, so you can see that the duration is 138 days, 138 days, which is the same. Okay, so that's why this was uh, this difference was happening before, because previously we were not auto scheduling it. So we can turn auto scheduling on and off by various ways. So for example, if I just undo everything, so it will go back to the previous situations. In this way, maybe in this time, maybe what I can do is I can click this box over here, and then from the task menu, I can uh, click this auto schedule button over here, and then it will auto schedule, and then it will take 138 days. So this is the same duration which we calculated before. Okay, 138 days. So there are various views which we can see on Microsoft project. So the view which we are seeing over here, in which we are just showing the task name, duration, start, finish, predecessor. So this is more like an entry table schedule. If you want to see a view which is called as the schedule table, so then we can go to this view menu, okay, and then we can see from here as the tables. So if we click at these tables, and then here you can see that this entry table has been uh, selected over here. Instead of entry table, if we take change the view and the view and select schedule, so then we will see that we will have some different types of columns which will be shown over here. So what are these columns? These are the task name. So let's make it a little bit, we expand it. Okay, and then the next column will be finish, start, finish, late start, late finish, free slack, and uh, total slack. Okay, so in this free slack, total slack, we can see that uh, this is the start, late finish, free slack, total slack. So this is called as the schedule table. So in this schedule table, normally if we want the early start instead of the start, so which is the same thing as over here. Okay, so start and finish is the same. So start column is the same as the early start column. Finish column is the same as the early finish column. So we can even select its name like from here. Okay, so for example, whichever column we want to show over here, so we can select its name. So for example, early start. So yeah, early start over here instead of start, but that will be the same in this case. There is then no change, no need to do this. And then this scheduling table also showing these free slack and total slack in each activity. So for example, in this case, some of the activities we can see that they have a total slack of 68 days. So for example, develop software test data has a total slack of 68 days, but it has a free slack of only 0 days. Similarly, the test software has a total slack of 68 days and the free slack of also 68 days. Here, in this case, prepare mailing labels have a free slack of 8 days and the free slack, total slack of 8 days. So we can see this kind of information. So let's move back to the entry view. Okay, so the another view we can see from the Microsoft project is the network view. So, so this is the default Gantt chart view. If we want to show the network diagram, then we can go to the here and then go to the more views, and then we can go to the network diagram over here from here, and then we can apply. And in this way, then it will show the network diagram for the project. Okay, so as if you will see that this network diagram, uh, in this network diagram, the uh, activities will be shown by these boxes. We can change the style of these boxes as you like, and then we can also zoom in and zoom out. So for example, if I want to show more network, uh, show more boxes activities, so then I can click this minus sign over here in the zoom, and then I can see some more activities. So here in this way, I can see almost all the project, okay, by taking the zoom, by taking the zoom. And then here you can see that some of the activities shown here are in the red shading, but some activities shown are not in the red shading. So the activities shown in the red shading, these are the critical activities. Okay, these are the critical activities. So these critical activities we can also show in the Gantt chart view. So let's go back to this Gantt chart view, and then we can also show the Gantt chart over here. So in this over here, the Gantt chart is shown on the right hand side. Okay, but here we cannot see the full Gantt chart. So what we can do is we can just zoom out, and then it will show more number of activities. So here I can see that now all the project has been shown over here. So maybe I can take a little bit more, or yeah. Okay, so in this way, here I can see that the whole project has been shown uh, in one view, and then we can see that some of the activities, for example, and their assigned resources have been shown over here. Also, there are some other various views. So for example, if you just want to show the critical activities over here, so then what we can do is we can click the view button, and then you can use even the filter. So for example, filter, and then you can use critical. So this will show only the uh, critical activities. Okay, and if no filter, then it will show all activities. Okay, so this is the Gantt chart tools, and if you click the format over here, so for example, if we just want to if we want to highlight some of the critical activities over here, so what we can do is we can go to this uh, being in this task menu, and then you will click the format. Okay, and then you can uh, check in the critical task box over here, and then you can see over here that the activities with the critical activities will be highlighted by the red color over here. And then for these critical activities, what you can see over here is that if we go to the, say, scheduling table, okay, scheduling table. So we can go to the view, table, scheduling tables. For the critical activities, you can see that the total slack will be 0. Okay, so for example, this was the critical activity, the total slack was 0. Its early start time and late start time will be also same, 1st of March and 1st of March. So similarly, this is the critical activity with 0. But for non-critical activity, for example, here, this one, develop software test data, there was a total slack of 68 days. Its early start time is 22nd of April, but its late start time is 27th of July. Okay, so from 20, it will start anywhere between 22nd of July, April to 22nd of July. Okay, so yeah, so in this case, if you click format and then if you want to show the critical task, you can click over here. If you want to show the slack, you can also click over here. So here you will see that for the slack, it is showing it with the help of this thick line. Okay, sorry, thin line. But for the critical activity, it is showing it with the help of this uh, with the help of these colored boxes. Okay, so you can turn these options on and off according to your requirement. So for example, if now I have turned it off, so the all tasks have been turned to blue. So we are not showing any critical tasks over here. If I turn to the slack, so then it will show the slack in that activity. That means uh, how many days this activity can be delayed without the overall delay in the project. Okay, so if, for example, if I just want to show only the project activities without summary tasks, so what I can do is I can unselect the project summary task and the summary tasks. So then I will be only showing the activities over here. Okay. And then if, for example, if I just want to show the slack over on those activities, so you can see that the slack is being shown only on a few activities. And the critical activities, then some of those activities with the which should be critical, that will be shown with the red color over here. So we can add the project summary tasks and the summary activities as well over here. Okay, so that was the uh, scheduling table. So we can move back to the um, entry table by clicking these tables and then click enter. Okay. So this is how we can do some uh, steps for the scheduling in the Microsoft project. So we can show the uh, network diagram, we can show the bar charts, and then we can show and hide the critical activities. So with this thing in mind, let's move back to this PowerPoint. So the bar chart view. So bar chart view is also a very useful view, and then it is useful for the presentation of the project results. Okay, so next is the project control process. So what is the project control process? It is the control process in which we uh, regularly monitor. Okay, I have some question. Okay, so someone have asked, one question is, why do we need late start and finish? So this is one question. And then My next question is, I just saw these questions now because, okay, so, and then next question is, let us know the float associated with each activity, the the latest time to start and finish an activity without affecting the project delivery time. So let's move to the first question first. So why do we need the late start and finish? Uh, uh, we need the late start and finish because, for example, uh, these are the limits on the time, on the start and finish times of the activities. So early start time, and the early start time is the earliest an activity can be started. The latest is the latest an activity can be started without delaying the project. So if the early start and the late start are the same, that means we cannot delay the activity. But if a late start time is some days later than the earlier start time, so this means that that activity can be delayed within that early and the late start times without delaying the overall project. So that's why we need the early and the late start times. Okay, so the next question is, uh,
Sir, the second one is not a question; it's a response to the first question.
oh, okay, okay, all right, all right, okay. So that's right. Okay, so that was actually you, the like maybe you responded to him. Okay, that's fine. That's a good. Next is the project control process. So in the project control process, the main idea is you want the control, you want continuously monitor the activities, and then uh, you need to see whether certain activities are starting and finishing on time. And if some of the activities are changing, then what type of changes are happening in those activities. And suppose if those changes are the acceptable changes, uh, the changes which are accepted by all the but uh, project customers, like uh, the changes are accepted by the customers. So then those changes are incorporated into the project, and then the effect of those changes is observed. So the effect of these after that, when the effect of those project is observed, so then that effect on the product may be a negative effect or the positive effect as well. A negative effect means that maybe the project activities are delayed. So if the project activities are delayed, then there may be some corrective actions needed. So those corrective actions are taken, and then uh, the activities are uh, the project is brought back to its normal schedule. So a kind of so this flow chart process can be used for the uh, project control process. So establish the baseline plan, and then perform the project. So after performing the project, during each reporting period, the data is collected, and the changes are incorporated. Uh, Reporting period is important. So reporting period can be uh, uh, it is recommended that a regular reporting period should be chosen. Okay, and the frequency of the reporting period should be also chosen very carefully. If a project is for a long duration, then it may not be necessary to have the reporting period very frequently. Say, for example, like every week. Say if, for example, if the project is going to take, if this project is for say like 2 years duration, so then uh, it may be acceptable to have the reporting period, let's say like after every month. But if the project is say for like for a few months long duration, then it may be better to have the project reporting say after every week, like that. And for even smaller projects, a reporting period of say daily, on daily basis may be necessary. But in any case, it is recommended that a, a regular reporting period should be followed. So just going back to this Microsoft project, in this case, it was actually desired that the project should be completed within say 138 days. Okay, so can you see the Microsoft project view on your screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was desired that the project is to be completed in 130 days. So therefore, the project team looked at the duration which was entered for each of those activities, and they considered that maybe we can reduce the uh, mail questionnaire and get responses duration from 65 days to 55 days. So if we can complete it in within 55 days, then we may be able to complete the duration of this project. Because this project also was on the critical task, So reducing the duration of the critical task will also reduce the duration of the activities. So therefore, if instead of, if we can cut 10 days from this activity, then we may be able to complete the project early. So, so as an exercise, maybe we can change it to 55 days, and I hit enter. So by changing it to 55 days, now I can see that the duration of the activities has, the duration of the project has been reduced to 128 days. So since we have already selected the automatic scheduling for this project, so Microsoft project has automatically scheduled the new completion date of the project. And then here it is also highlighted that which activities have changed as a result. Okay. So for example, this activity was changed, and as a result, these following activities have changed. So if, for example, if I can just temporarily undo it, so I can see that these were the critical tasks. So whether there is any change in the critical tasks, or are there any same critical tasks that we can also see it. So I move it back to 55 days, so I can see that there are certain changes which are happening in the project, and these changes are highlighted by this shaded boxes as well. So it will so these changes may be, for example, the changes are happening in the start date and finish date of these activities. Okay, here the change has happened in the finish date of this activity. The start date of the activities is the same. And similarly, but there is no other change happening in other activities, because this activity was actually uh, occurring after these previous activities. So by the time, if we want to change anything in the project, these previous activities have already happened. Okay, so that's why there was no changes in the previous activities. Only changes happened which were in these following activities. These activities, for example, over here, that is the activities number 14 and 15, develop data analysis software and the test software. There is no change, because these activities were not dependent on this a mail questionnaire and get responses. So only activities which were dependent on a mail questionnaire and get responses have changed. Okay, so that's why the changes have been highlighted automatically by the program uh, by this change. Okay, so although we have not done much in this network which we entered previously in this, but we have only entered the durations, and then we have entered change the duration of one of the activities. But then we can see that with all these changes, many other changes in the network can be easily be observed. So this is where the main advantage of using the software is. So we can easily perform the kind of like what if analysis in the project. So what will happen if we change this? What will happen if we change that? Okay, so now I think because the earlier the project team wanted the project to be completed in 130 days, but now it is completed in 128 days. So which this means that we know that even if there is a 2 days of delays in the some of the earlier critical activities, the project can still be completed in 130 days in this case. But suppose that this is based on the assumption that we can complete this mail questionnaire and get responses within 65 days. And then there are no more other delays in any of the other following critical activities. Okay, so let's move back to the PowerPoint. So project control process, and then effects of actual schedule performance. Yeah. So next is the effect of the actual schedule performance. Uh, so once the schedule is created, uh, the schedule is created for the project to be started in the future. Okay, maybe 1 week later or 1 month later. But once you have started the project, some of the activities have started, and then those activities which have been started, and then those activities which have been also completed, this effect should also be reflected into the project schedule. So in this case, if we have, for example, over here, these three activities which are in a series: remove old wallpaper, patch the wall, put up the new wallpaper, and the required completion is 20 days. However, if we perform these activities in succession, the first activity takes 7 days, the next activity takes 5 days, and the next activity it will take 3 days. So total there will be 15 days it will take. So in this case, what we can see that we have a total slack of 5 days. Okay, but in reality, when the project happened, this activity, the actual finish was 10 days. Although this activity started on time, but instead of finishing in 7 days, it finished on in 10 days. Okay, so now after that, what is going to happen? So then in this case, because this activity used uh, 3 days more than the originally which was scheduled, then its actual finish time was 10 days, and then it has used to 3 of the days more. So therefore, the total slack remaining is 5 days only. So it can be reflected uh, in the schedule as well. So for example, if in this case it was 7 days, instead of 7 days, it finished on 10 days. So therefore it will be, if it is earlier it was the the early start time over here, it was 7. Now it will change to 10. And it's late start time, because the late start time will be 20. 20 minus 3, it will be 17. 17, then 17 minus 5, it will be 12. So now the late start time will be 12, early start time will be 10. So the slack remaining will be only 2 days. So similarly, the slack remaining in this activity will be only 2 days. So if one of the activity uses up some part of the slack remaining for the uh, other activities, succeeding activities, will also be reduced. So in this case, just because this first activity has used 3 more days, so the slack remaining for all the succeeding activities has also reduced to uh, 2 days. Okay, that means a reduction in slack by 3 days. Okay, so incorporate changes into the schedule. So that whatever the changes happening as a result of the regular progress are incorporated into the schedule. And then once the information is added into the schedule, the project is updated. The project is updated. So the updated project can be shown in the uh, schedule table. So in this case, for example, uh, these 3 activities, 1, 2, 3, now the project has already started, and then these 3 activities have been completed. So in this case, the actual finish is 2, 11, and 30. Okay, and now we have to, this information for the actual finish is entered into the project, and then the information is updated. So therefore, the total slack of the projects will be reduced, and then some of the succeeding activities will have the earliest and the latest finish times. Those times will be change. Okay. Uh, then in the control schedule, then there are some certain schedule control steps, and then some of the actions which needs to be taken. And then sometimes time cost trade-offs are also employed. So that means to reduce the project duration, maybe sometimes we have to reduce the scope of the project, or maybe to reduce the quality of the requirements of the project as well. And similarly, some other corrective actions can be taken. Uh, and then the project can be changed to finish in 130 days. So one of the change which was recommended earlier was mail the questionnaire and get the responses, and then the total slack for that project may be reduced. Okay, scheduling for information systems development. Maybe you can read along these slides, and also the relevant part of the chapter. So this is the example for the uh, uh, information system development project, and then how the scheduling was done on that project. So this was the data for that project. So maybe you can use this data in your project scheduling software, Microsoft project, and then you can develop the schedule and see how the schedule looks like. So in this case, this is the completed schedule for the information system project. Okay, and yeah, I will not um, go through this, but you can now try it. So this is another additional example for the project. So you can input this data into the Microsoft project, and then see whether you get the same results. So for example, for the total slack, Okay, like that. So in this case, okay, so project management information systems. So most systems perform the scheduling functions. It calculates at click of the mouse the early start, early finish, late start, and late finish. Critical path perform the control functions, etc. Okay, so the next is the another type of project planning technique, which is called as the agile project management. Yeah, there in your textbook there is a very good article which written on the agile product management. So you can read this article on the agile project management. This just to tell you a little bit about this agile project management. It is a relatively a new approach towards the project management, and it is useful for those kind of projects in which there are no specific uh, project objectives. That means the end result of the project is not very clear, and it is mostly used for like creative type of projects, and it's most of its use is in the information systems development or the software development projects. So therefore, the emphasis on this project, on this type of project planning approach, is on the daily updating, daily meetings, daily very short meetings, and then updating of the schedule, and the updating of the data on a more frequent basis. So the main actors involved in these kind of projects are the product owner, the development team, and the scrum master. And the processes included are the establish and authorization of the project, defining the requirements, which are of course not very clear at the beginning, but these are progressively improved. Uh, Daily scrum meetings, uh, conduct the sprint review meetings, and the sprint retrospective meetings. So there are certain terms, scrum, sprint, etc. So these are the uh, terms which are used in this type kind of agile project management to highlight the effort, to highlight the types of meeting involved in these kinds of projects. So there is a lot of literature on the agile project management on the internet as well. So you can have a look at those projects. And then after looking at this whole topic, so we can learn we can learn a few lessons in the form of these critical success factors. So for example, the person who will be responsible for performing the activity should estimate the duration for the activity, etc. And then there are some more lessons which we have already looked at in this uh, topic. So that is the critical success factor and in the summary. And then there is an appendix for the probabilistic activity duration. So maybe you can also go through it. So let's have some discussion on the question and answers as well. But before we have some discussion, I have a look at this uh, case study which I have uploaded over here as well. Decision case of chapter 5. So if you will open this case study, then you will have this decision case. Okay, so and this is the decision time. So you will have a case in this case there is a project, and for this project we have to plan certain activities. Okay, and then and the first page is the introduction. And then you go to the next page. In this next page now a question has been asked, and then you have to choose one of the two options. Okay, that means whether we take which activity or not. So this activity, you will have to take three decisions, and then based on the some of the decisions will be correct. So for example, over here, one of these two decisions, one of the decision is the correct decision, the other decision will be the wrong decision. If you will take the correct decision, then or either if in any case if you will take the correct or the wrong decision, we will go to the next decision point, and then you will take the decision again. So these decisions are related to the logical sequence of the activities. So for example, it has been asked that some of the activities have been completed. So after that activity, which other activities should be followed? Okay, so for this we have to answer it logically. So that means what is the logical sequence that for that activity which can be followed? And later on, if we have to reduce the duration of the project, which activities should be chosen to reduce the duration of the project? So whether the activities should be on the critical path or not. So that will be the second aspect which will be uh, tested in this case study. The third aspect which will be tested in the case study will be the involvement of the people uh, which are most suitable to calculate the duration of certain activities. So the duration of the activities in the project, the duration of activities in the project uh, are very important. Okay, if some of the duration of the activities in the project have been wrongly estimated, then this may also have the effect on the project. So this case study you should go through, and then you can see that there may be different scenarios. So for example, uh, if in the first case you select decision A, okay, then in the second case, uh, so for example, in if I have, okay, if I have like, so for example, in this, if in the first step, if I have to take a decision A, and in the second step, you will have to take a decision C or D, okay? And in the third step, you will have to take a decision E or F. So then there will be various combinations, okay? So you can take, so like A, C, E, okay? A, C, F, okay? A, D, E, A, D, F, like these kind of decisions, maybe, and then maybe B, C, E, okay? So out of these 8 combinations, one combination will be completely correct, and another combination will be completely wrong. And then some of the other combinations will have either 2 wrong or 2 correct, okay? So in this way, you can look at this case study. So for example, if you take decision A, so it is incorrect, okay? Based on this decision, you take the next decision is D, it is still incorrect, okay? And then based on this decision, you will take a decision F, the last one is correct. So in this case, you will get a conclusion, okay? And you can see that what will be the outcome of this project, and then the final will be that you made 1 correct and 2 incorrect decisions. And then you can just go back to the first page, see you have the introduction of the project, and then you can try to make another decision. So in this case, you will have 8 different combinations for this case study. So you should go through these case studies, which I am uploading, so which can give you very good practice. So the decision case chapter 5, decision case chapter 4, and then these 2 case studies are available over here. So coming back to the questions, so this is the textbook, okay? So which you have the access over here. If we go through some of the questions over here, yeah, so these are some of the questions. So maybe, how about here? Question number 13. Calculate the early start, early finish, late start, late finish times and the slack for each activity in the figure below, and identify the critical path for the project. So can the project be completed in 40 weeks? Assume that the activity A actually finished at 3 weeks. Okay, so maybe you can perform the analysis. Yeah, maybe let me show you. I don't know whether I can do it here or now or not. Yeah, it will be difficult to do it now because, for example, I need to. Okay, maybe I can try it. Word, Microsoft Word 2013. Oh, my Word program is taking some time to start up. Okay, so I will stop the share for a while and then I come back in a minute. Okay, so can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so let me copy this information. Word. Okay, so I have this information now. And let's see if I can write it on this. Okay. Okay, so this activity will start from 0. Okay. Yeah, this activity start from 0 and then will finish at 2. Then it will be 2, then it will be 12. Here it will be 2 and then 17. This is the activity number and this is the duration, okay? And then it will be 2 and then
10,
and then it will be 12,
12,
and then 12
19,
plus 17, 19. And here it will be 19, 17, and 10. So you will take 19.
19,
Plus 12 is 31.
31,
And then it will be Yes, so will it be 19 or 10 over here for activity F?
10.
Yeah, because it is only dependent on activity C, it will be 10. And then 30.
30.
And 31 and 30, then it will be 31 and then 5,
31.
36. Okay. So in this way, then you can see it. So what was asked, it was that calculate the ES, EF, LS, and left times and the slack for each activity. Okay, so we have to complete it. So where is this? So now this was the forward pass. In the backward pass, it will be 36 minus 531. And then it will be 31, and then it will be 20, that is
25.
31 minus 20 is 31 minus 20 is
11.
11. Yes. Okay, and then it will be 31 over here. 31 minus 12 is 19.
19.
And then it is 11, and then 11 minus 8 is 3. Okay, and here it is 19. 19 minus 15 is 14.
4.
Oh, sorry, 4. So it will be 19 minus 4, 19 minus 15 is 4, yes.
4.
Yes, and then here it is 19. 19 minus 7 is 12.
12.
And then it is 12, and then 12 minus 10 is 2.
2.
So now for this, this activity depends on these 4 succeeding activities. So 2, 4, and 3 we will take 2. Okay, 2, 4, and 3 will take 2. So here we have calculated the early start and late finish time. So what is the slack? Slack for this activity is 0. Slack for this activity is 0. Slack for this activity is 0. I'm talking about the total slack. So slack for this activity is
2.
2. Okay. And slack for this
1.
activity is 1, 0,
0.
and
1.
then this is 1, and then 0.
0.
So the critical path is critical path is 1, 2, 5, 7,
7.
and
8.
Yeah, this is the critical path. Okay, and then we have calculated all the ES, LS times. So in this case, what is said that can the project be completed in 40 weeks? So the answer is yes, because the project can be
Yes.
completed in 40 weeks. So 36 within 36 weeks. And what is the answer? Assume that the activity A actually finished at 3 weeks. And then activity B actually finished at 12 weeks. And activity C finished at 13 weeks. So recalculate the expected project completion times. Okay. So what has been said that, the activity, can the activity A finished at 3 weeks? Okay, A finished at 3 weeks. So let me show it with some other number. So if it is 3, okay, and B, B actually finished at 12 weeks. Okay, B actually finished at 12 weeks. So B, yeah, it is correct. B is at 12 weeks. Then And C actually finished at 13 weeks. C actually finished at 13 weeks. So C, where is C? C, yeah, C actually finished at 13 weeks. Okay. So now what we have to find is which activities would you recalculate the expected project completion time? Which activities would you focus to get the project back on schedule? Okay, so we will see that. So in this case, activity A finished on 3 days, but activity A was critical activity. So this means that the project will be delayed by 1 day as a result of this activity. About activity C. Activity C had this stack of 1 day, but now it finished at 13 days. That means it has used the 1 days of slack and then 2 more additional days. So in this case, we need to recalculate, okay? So if we will recalculate, so then 2 will become 3. 3 plus 10 is become 13.
18.
And then and this will be 13. And this will be 20, okay? And from here, because this is not changing, so here it is 13, so it will be, yeah, 13 over
13.
here. And,
Yes.
and 13 plus 20, it will be
33.
33, okay? 33. And then if it is 19, then yeah, so it will be 20 over here.
20.
20 plus 12, it
32.
will be 32. So now we have 32 and 31, okay? So then it will be
33.
32, okay?
33.
33? Oh, yes,
Yes.
33, yes, 33, yes, yes, this is 33. 32 and 33, yes. So 33, and 33 plus 5 is?
38.
38. So it means that the project will be delayed by 2 days as a result of these changes. As a result of these changes, the project will be delayed by 2 days. So what changes we made? We changed the activity A, and then activity B was completed like as before. So therefore, the project will be delayed by 2 days. Okay. So this is the effect on the changes. And what was the last question over here? Which activities would you focus on to get the project back on schedule? That means if we want to complete the project back in like 36 days as before, so which activities we will focus? So we will focus on the general answer is we will focus on the critical activities. So any of the critical activities which can be reduced in its duration, then that activity could be considered. All right, so therefore, this was one of the exercise. So there are some more exercises as well in this. Yeah, I think only 2, but there should be more. But anyway, yeah, there is one of them is this, another one is this. So we can perform these type of calculations to see what is the effect and of these changes in the project. All right, so that's all for today. And then the next week we will start the next topic and with some new features which we can discuss in this project management course. And do you have any questions? And do you have any question?
No.